Hey, this is Twotris Humble coming right back at you with the second video today because I'm inspired by a certain young James. Young James is this very beautiful, handsome blonde guy from Chicago. I'm from Milwaukee, who makes videos about living here. And I don't really know his whole job situation, but I will say that he's good at telling stories. I got a few stories to tell you. So as a foreigner in Japan, everybody already knows this, but you will feel a little othered, like you don't belong here exactly. People will give you the strange look. I mean, just look behind me as I'm making these vlogs. But those are more tourists. The whole spiel that I'm getting at, though, is in the United States, you don't really feel othered too much, especially as a Caucasian person like me. And you come to Japan, you're like, oh, okay, that's what that feels like. Now I get it. And it's still not exactly the same, but you got to get used to the fact that people might be nervous talking to you because Japan's an island country. This place has a history of shutting itself down to the rest of the world for 250 years. And then you're coming here being like, I'm going to go get a job and make some money and find my waifu. And, well, I mean, with your expectations come disappointments. And the biggest disappointment I think I had in Japan is it's a lot more difficult to make friends than I thought it would be. And I speak Japanese, but it's less a language problem. It's that if you're an introverted person to begin with, you're just going to blend in here. Not necessarily from a visual perspective, but from a personality one. Because Japanese people actually tell me this a lot. They're like, Twotris, you're very Japanese in your mannerisms. You're polite, you're respectful, you're quiet, you're soft-spoken, you don't really take too many risks. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Dad would kick my ass when I was a kid, and as a result of that, coming to Japan, I don't really like to disrespect the rules too much, but other people do. And those are the people who mostly stand out Japanese people don't like. But if you don't really stand out, if you're not willing to take risks, then you're just going to blend in. And even when you try to make friends, you really have to push yourself and have the right context and get into the nitty-gritty of a conversation and have a heart-to-heart. And you'll notice that it's not super easy to make deep talk here. Most people I've noticed, they prefer to just talk about their work day, what they're doing like on a weekly basis. But many of my Japanese friends have actually told me that there's this like underlying collective unconscious that Japanese people have where they know they'll be judged if they do certain things, and because of that collective unconscious, it makes it very difficult to have a strong sense of individuality. So finding the very individualistic Japanese people who are more compatible with like Western culture, like, you know, yours or mine, it can be a bit of a challenge. You can't find them. I'm not saying that Japan's a bad place. I'm just explaining the mistake that I made was coming here expecting to be able to make friends like that. And it didn't end up being that easy. I've been living here for 3 years, and the majority of the people I actually talk to are either on the internet or they're Americans I've met who are also expats in the same region. So if you decide to come to Japan, if you decide to, meet people, just come with the mindset of self-transformation, and don't be too worried about what other people think about you, because otherwise you'll develop bad habits. You're like, I don't want to go to the bar, I don't want to go outside, I don't want to, be disliked by people. But I know, kind of ironic for my YouTube channel, but there is, been a lot of times where I have conversations with people who, a lot of times where make friends, and we have a very good conversation. We have a heart-to-heart. Things go well. And then like a week later, they ghost you. And they never talk to you again. It's happened to me. It will happen to you. Where what someone says to your face doesn't mean that it's how they really feel. And when you're an American and you take people at face value, that can be really heartbreaking. So be prepared for that. Otherwise, I don't know. I just wanted to get that off my chest.